Jim, a few more questions. This was sent to the Cult of Cornette Facebook group by Matt Rasnick. Has Jim ever been in a situation where a storyline was simply abandoned due to bad booking, injury, or leaving a territory without a chance to wrap things up? Abandoned wrestling storylines are interesting to me.
Oh, God, well, Jesus. That little thing we did with Tully and Arn, that came to a premature conclusion when they went to the WWF. We had a program one time with Chris Champion and Sean Royal, the New Breed, and they got in a car wreck. We were working with Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff one time. That's when Nikita's wife got sick, and he quit the business for a while. The program we had with the original Midnight was bad booked into insensibility within 3 months. And those are just the ones that I was personally involved in with the Midnight Express. So you can imagine, yeah, so much shit's changed. I can't remember some of the things that we had to change because of, anything and everything. Guys no showing, guys quitting with no notice, guys getting hurt. Too numerous to mention. I just dangled a few of them there.
Are there any storylines that you just abandoned, though, at Smoky Mountain, let's say? Not something where, like, Jake doesn't show up so you have to change course, but something where you're just, this isn't working, let's stop.
Oh, no, well, not that I ever booked. Because even if something is not working, you don't just stop and act like it never happened, because that would throw my OCD off. So you have to fucking get out of it. You report that so-and-so was, found burned to death on the side of the road, a victim of spontaneous combustion. I don't fucking know. And then never mention it again. But you don't just leave things unless everybody's gone that was involved in it, and there's no way to fucking say anything about it.
Like, did Dusty Rhodes know that all these years later people would be dying to know what was in the envelope? Yeah.
No, he didn't. But see, I could never do something like that because my OCD would kill me. But a lot of other times people would just drop shit. But, that happened in the territories so regularly that shit would get changed or dropped or somebody disappear or, well, look, we just did the Doink the Clown Dark Side. They just found new doinks.
Okay.
Can you find a new doink whenever you need one?
I probably could. Yeah, I live in New Jersey.
Well, there you go. Then that's all you need to know. You need a new doink, find a doink.
We brought up Mike Moraldo earlier. First time I ever met him was at the 1994 NWA tournament in Cherry Hill. I was sitting next to Tracy Smothers hanging out with him at his table, and there was a Doink the Clown that was clearly not Doink the Clown next to me. He was rather skinny, it seemed, at the time. And he was talking to me. He was a very nice guy. It was Mike Moraldo, A. Starling. And later on, when I was, hanging out with Dennis, I mentioned that to him, but he denied any memory of
Dennis loved Doink. He had Doink around a lot.
A lot of indie promoters did.
Multiple Doinks.
Did Vince ever say anything to you because you were, responsible? I don't remember the exact title. You were responsible for booking guys out for third-party deals. Was there ever an issue about these bootleg Doinks appearing everywhere? It was his IP.
Well, he didn't know about it. See, that's the thing. Even with the third-party bookings, he didn't know the headbangers were working for Dennis Coralluzzo in Cherry Hill. Jim Ross did. Whoever was heading talent relations did. There was paperwork on it. But as long as all these guys made his shows or his TVs, he didn't know there was independent wrestling going on, Vince McMahon. He knew it was going on, but he didn't know of any specific show, any specific where, at any specific time. Didn't know about any of these fucking promoters, what they were doing, what the shows looked like. He didn't give a shit. And I would go, of course, and I'd see Doinks and shit, but it was Dennis or it was Jim Kettner or it was Blaine DeSantis or whoever. And they're just trying to fucking draw 500 or 1,000 people in Cherry Hill. So I didn't say anything. The only time the office got mad about people doing third-party bookings is when the promoter didn't pay the booking fee or was advertising people without getting cleared first. Then they'd get on the banned list, or didn't have insurance if insurance was requested and, asked for, stuff like that. somebody in the office would call me about that, and I'd have to get on. But Vince McMahon didn't know what the fuck was happening. He had approved in concept the idea that the guys that weren't booked that much could get booked out on third-party promotions as long as the office got a 10% booking fee and we knew where they were. And that's the sum total of shit that he gave about it.
All right. Well, before we abandon,
but now, but where the IP issues would come up, is
Dennis had a fake Golga. I remember that.
Well, yeah, but where they would come up is like Kirk White in California. I used to have to call him all the time because he wouldn't go through the office. He wouldn't turn the date in and what he wanted the guys to do. He wouldn't send a booking fee. He'd pick Owen and Brett up at the airport when they went to California, and then he'd take them somewhere and get them a payoff, and he'd get some too. And the office might hear about it. Hey, I heard so-and-so did an unauthorized appearance. I'll check. Or if, again, this was before they were really cracking down on using their pictures and anything else that they owned. There wasn't really a big internet at that point. They just wanted to make sure that nobody was false advertising WWF names or talent or...
Yeah, that's their job.
Well, yeah. Or also, in many cases, they were fucking on shows that the ring was going to fall down or the show got bad publicity because of something else the promoter did. So they wanted to know that our talent was only working for approved promoters that weren't going to get in trouble. And I would try to cover for Dennis Corluzzo as much as possible. But that was basically the gist of their involvement there.